This is Small Business Big World, our weekly podcast prepared by the team at Paper Trails. Owning and running a small business is hard. Each week, we'll dive into the challenges, headaches, trends, fun, and excitement of running a small business. After all, small businesses are the heartbeat of America, and our team is here to keep them beating. All right, welcome to Small Business Big World, our weekly podcast where we talk about all things small business. My guest this week is Matt Diamante. Sorry there, Matt. Matt is an SEO expert. He's a wizard at SEO, search engine optimization from Hey Tony Agency. So thanks for joining, Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I feel, weird. People ask me to be on their podcast. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could, talk about SEO.
You're really
help some people out. So
this is tracking. You've got 195,000 followers on Instagram. Gosh.
Oh no.
It's like you're an influencer now.
I'm just a guy who makes videos about SEO and digital marketing in my office. And I guess.
Well, before we jump into a good conversation here, don't forget, please like, follow, share, rate, review. We are on all the podcast platforms, all the social media platforms, and those really help us continue to grow and get more listeners just like you. So Matt, talk to me about, what you do, what Hey Tony is, a little bit what, SEO is. I think it's one of those foreign topics for a lot of small businesses.
Yeah. So I run a digital marketing agency called Hey Tony. We primarily focus on SEO, which in short is just helping people show up higher on Google. SEO stands for search engine optimization. And really at the core of it, it's just content, writing blog posts, making sure that Google can find your website. It's all words on the page for the most part. You can do video and images and stuff too, but the primary thing that we're doing is using keywords and making sure that they're on.
I know. So you make it sound so simple.
That's SEO.
Yeah.
Podcast over.
It's so simple, but as we learned, there's a lot of elements to that. And, we're kind of disciples here of Matt's and learned a lot from him, which is what we're going to kind of dig into today is, how you've marketed your business really. And, SEO has a lot to it. I mean, there's on-page SEO, there's off-page SEO, there's all those different things, which again, you can see the results. We were just talking about that. We've seen great traffic increases on our website. We learned from you the things we had to do. We had to do a website audit, SEO audit. We learned the tools to use, and how to kind of do that, which has been really great helpful for our business. So we really appreciate that. So I think it was last year you started doing, your crazy little videos, right? In Instagram, like we all try to do.
Yeah.
But you kind of took off. Talk to me about your Instagram journey and how you kind of came up with that and built it.
Oh God. Yeah. So in January 2023, I had just let go of my biggest client at the time, or parted ways with them, I should say. And, I was a referral business up until that point, and up until like mid last year, I was a referral business as well. And as you might know, as a referral business, or if you're a referral business, the good months are really good. You're working really hard, long hours, making a lot of money. And then, the next month or the next 6 months, or they could be really low times where you're not really making that much money. You're making maybe enough to survive. And, you don't know where your next client's going to come from. And that was a big struggle for me. And I was like, I need to change this. So in January 2023, I decided, you know what, I'm going to start posting every day on social media. I'm going to post videos. I'm going to try to help people, and just genuinely, try to help people. So I had read 2 books. One was called The One Thing, and the other one was called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Reading both of those kind of like within the same week. And my business was slow at that point, so I had time to like read. And when I say read, I mean listen to books, because my retention is absolute garbage when I'm actually reading. I'm like, what did I just read? But if I'm listening to a book, I'm like, okay, like I get it. So I'd read those 2 books, and basically the One Thing is about what's one thing you can do every single day that will contribute to your, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goal, whether it's personal, whether it's, health, whether it's wealth, relationships, business, whatever it might be. And my goal has always been, I don't want to be a referral business. I want people knocking on my door. And so I was like, I'm just going to, take the lessons that I learned in these 2 books. Jab, 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 Right Hook is a social media book about how we live in the greatest time ever to be business owners, because you can literally post a video on TikTok or on Instagram and go viral and, make your business basically from there. And it's free. You don't need to pay to do any of that, which is absolutely insane. So I started posting every single day for 3 months. And I committed to myself to do it for a year just to see what happens. And I was like, if I do this for a year and I prove these guys wrong, like screw them. I tried it, it didn't work, all this kind of stuff. I want to prove them right or prove them wrong. And on the flip side, I was like, if I prove them right, this is going to be very good for me. So I was really hoping that would happen. So 3 months in, I started with 0 followers. 3 months in, I had I don't know, maybe 400 or 500 followers, like nothing really crazy. And I was at that point I was posting one video every single day. And then I was like, you know what? I read a quote somewhere. It was like, you need to take more swings. You know, MLB players, they don't learn how to hit a home run the first time they ever swing a bat. They've swung that thing thousands or tens of thousands of times. And then they still even occasionally just hit a home run. You know what I mean? So 3 months in, I was like, I'm going to start posting 3 videos a day because I need to take more swings. I need to learn this stuff faster. I need to, you know, start achieving my goal. And it took another 3 months of me doing that. So that's 90 videos a month for those 3 months, basically. So I was close to about, 300 videos all in, and nothing was happening. I had like 1,500 followers. I should say not nothing was happening. Like I had 1,500 followers, right? Nothing too much to write home about, but I'm like, this is crazy. Like, am I going to be an influencer? And my wife had like a couple thousand followers as well. I'm like, are we going to be an influencer family? Is this going to be a thing? And she's like, you're such an idiot. No. So I was like, okay, I've been putting in all this work. And even my brother texted me. He's like, what are you doing? You're posting videos. Like, what are all these videos? Are you getting paid to do these videos? Somebody paying you? I'm like, no. He's like, well, why are you doing it? Because I'm like, right. I will get paid.
That's the idea.
I hope.
Yeah.
Like that's being a business owner, right? That's being a business owner. I will be paid eventually, I hope. I just kept persisting. And then about a week later, so 6 months and a week in, so June 2023, I had my first video go viral. Got like 1 million views on Instagram. And I was like, oh, holy shit.
Which is
like something's happening. I don't know. Like, this is crazy.
So that was when you went viral, which is great. And what was the topic of that?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
It was SEO. I just said it in a different way, or I just did something different that resonated with a lot of people. And I went from 1,500 to 15,000 followers in about a week. And I was like, okay, I made it. Like, I have more followers than any other agency in the city that I live. People should be knocking at my door anytime. And then the next week, I had another video go viral as well, like 1 million or a couple million views. And that just started like moving the needle more and more and more. Fast forward to December 2023. So just about a year in, I had 100,000 followers on Instagram and about 25,000 or something on TikTok. And I just kind of sat there and I was like, dang, these guys were right. If you just put in the time, put in the effort, learn how to do this, take more swings, like there's no reason why you won't be successful. And I've since been on the podcast for The One Thing.
That's cool.
That book. I messaged the author. And he's like, that's an incredible story. So I got to go on their podcast. I got to have conversations with the author, like all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm just a guy in this room, trapped in this room, making silly videos. Well, not silly videos, but like I'm calling them silly videos, but helpful videos, teaching entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And that's, so first of all, thank you for the book recommendations. I wrote those down. Those are going on my stack. Amazon, here we come. So that's good. It's really interesting that, that approach that you've taken to your videos is not, doing stupid dances and, trying to grab attention. You're trying to educate your audience. And that for me really resonates. And we do a lot of that ourselves. We prescribe to the theory of they ask, you answer. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yep.
Like it's making sure you're providing answers to your customers before they ask them, right? Or, when they ask them, you have an answer ready to go.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of the same kind of educational content. Yep. We have not gone viral like you have, unfortunately, yet, but we're working on it. So
honestly, just keep doing it every single day. If you do 3 videos a day, I guarantee
it's funny. There's some of the videos that have gotten a little bit of traction are totally not what you would ever expect, right? Like you do a really good one, you're like, oh shit, that was awesome. That was great information. I was spot on. I did a great job. And then like, 35 people watched it. And then there's some that are like, well, we had one that we did over a year ago that all of a sudden got picked up by the algorithm and got, 40,000 views or something weird. I mean, for us it was a lot. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy that
that's amazing.
I know you deal in the world of the algorithm, the Google algorithm, all day, but these social algorithms are the same, same
Yeah.
thing. So trying to figure it out.
God, I'm just like I'm an algorithm architect, I guess. No, architect's not the right word. What's the guy who digs up the bones? Yeah. That guy. Yeah. Archaeologist. I was close. I'm an algorithm architect. Yes. Just
so what did you glean from the big leak a few months ago, the big Google leak about, was it everything that we already knew about SEO, or did you find any hidden gems in there?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that like SEO people, in my kind of circle that we all like really thought and were like, yeah, this is something that Google does, but they say that they don't. So one, backlinks do matter. And anybody listening, if you don't know what a backlink is, it's just a link from somebody else's website back to your website. It's essentially a vote saying, hey, these guys have great content.
John, are you listening? John, are you listening here?
Right, a like on social media.
We were just talking about that. We got to work on our backlinks.
Yeah. So that is basically just a vote for your website. And the more backlinks you have from more credible sources, the more trust you'll have in Google's eyes. And they'll be like, these guys have great information. And previously, Google had even done, I'm pretty sure, an announcement that they were like, backlinks don't matter as much as they used to. We found that to not be true, especially with this algorithm leak. We also found that Google, and they've never said that they had a domain authority, which is like their credibility factor. They never publicly said that they had a score for those, but in that leak, as far as I can tell, they have some kind.
Well, they must, because that's how the backlinks work. That's how quality content works. All that stuff, right? I mean, they must have some sort of score. Yes, we show up first on some things and not other things, right? So
exactly, yeah. And one thing that I always kind of thought this, but it was never like a proven hypothesis, and it was, if you want to rank on Google organically, you need to send signals to Google that you are a legitimate business, right? So yeah, you can write blog posts, you can, have a store on your site, you can have service pages, contact form, all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that they want to see is that you're getting traffic to your website from multiple different sources, right? You're not just trying to game, organic Google and show up on, higher in the listings, but you're getting traffic from people typing in your website directly because maybe you just told it to them, or they came into your business, or maybe they scanned a QR code on a business card, or maybe they clicked on a Facebook post and came to a blog post or booked a call, or, you're running some kind of Facebook ads or Instagram or TikTok. Like, you're getting traffic from multiple sources. And like, I was just looking the other day, I'm like, all of our client sites that are doing exceptionally well have traffic from multiple sources. It's not only from Google. And the websites that did get punished when they do all these like big algorithm updates are the ones that are like affiliate sites. They don't actually sell anything. They just do like quote unquote fake reviews, or they talk about the topics, but they don't have an online store. They don't have a physical location. They're not driving traffic from multiple sources. Those are the ones that got hit the hardest when Google did their.
So these kind of things that we're talking about right now, these are what you post on social media, right? And that's what people like me geek out on. And I'll send one of your reels to John, our marketing guy, and say, John, you got to look at this. Look, how come we're not doing this? And he usually responds back, I already saw that one, and I'm already doing that, Chris. So, definitely, certainly, that's the kind of content that we've really benefited from, of yours. And I know you've taken that from doing just the snippets, doing the reels, doing, Instagram and TikTok, to really creating online classes and checklists and guides. And, you've used the platforms to say, hey, leave me a comment below and I'll send you a checklist that you need to go do an SEO audit, right? What does that process look like for you in terms of creating that educational content and building those, quite frankly, lead forms, right?
Yeah. So honestly, before I started blowing up on Instagram, I was already making all these training videos to use internally, because I'm like, I'm going to be getting more clients at some point. I don't know how or when. I'm going to have to hire some people and I need to train them. And I don't want to sit with them for like 8 hours or 12 hours and like show them how to do all this stuff. And, what if they mistake a note and they do something wrong, or, whatever it might be. So I started creating all this video content. So the first thing I did was, if I'm bringing somebody onto the team and they don't really know anything about SEO, or, maybe they're a content writer or a blog writer, a journalist or something, somebody who writes. Those are the best SEO people, by the way, people who can like write content. I'm like, if I'm bringing somebody onto the team, I want to catch them up on like 5 years of SEO or like 3 years of college in a couple hours. Here's everything you need to know about SEO. Here's the most important parts. There's no sugarcoating. Well, I'm not talking about stuff that's irrelevant. It's like a 2-hour thing, and I give that away for free now, right? So I was already filming that, and I was like, I need some kind of lead magnet, which basically is just something that I can provide to a business owner or a person in exchange for their email address, so that I can email them later. I started giving that away for free, and so far I've had, I think, over it's like 13 or 15,000 people go through that free training, and that's like, yeah. And it really just like boils down SEO into, here's the 10 things on your website. There's more than that, but like, here's the 10 things on your website that are actually important that Google actually looks at, or search.
And you use, what's the tool that you use? We use it as well. That basically comment here, it automatically sends you a DM.
Yeah. So I'm sure everybody listening has seen that at least once on Instagram, where it's like, hey, if you want this free download, or if you want me to send you the link, comment this word below, comment viral below, and I'll send you a link to my Instagram training or whatever it is. And you comment, and then all of a sudden you get a DM like right away, a direct message, and it's just,
you're
hey,
saying
where's
there
the link to your free download? So
yeah, no,
no, God, no.
You have no life, right?
Yeah. So the tools, yeah. Oh my God, I've seen some people do that, and they didn't know about this tool. And I'm like, are you sending these out manually?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm like, what if hundreds of people do this? Like that's insane. So the tool's called ManyChat. I think it's the only tool that is like an official partner or official vendor or something with Meta to do that. So if you comment on something, you have to set it up obviously in advance, and there's like a little bit of a process, but it honestly,
it works because you send, here's the link, it brings you a landing page, you put your name, email address in, and then, hey, there's the course, or there's the checklist, there's the guide. Right?
Yep.
So that's kind of, I mean, again, we do a lot of that educational content too. John and I have been talking about trying to create a course. I will say SEO, I think, is a little more engaging than payroll and HR.
Are you joking? SEO is not engaging. SEO is payroll and HR. It's like the same shit.
We're boring. We live in a boring world. It is.
Do you think SEO is sexy?
Money. Makes people
money. It is not. No, it's not. I mean, payroll, yeah, maybe that costs people money.
That's true.
But HR can also save you a lot of money too. So it really depends on how you frame things, which is one thing that I learned by posting so many videos. It's like, I can't just say, make sure you're doing internal linking on your website. I have to say, like, Google doesn't want you to know the secret. But you actually, if you do this on your website, they'll love you for it, right? That's a terrible way to say it, but like, I'm not just saying it in the traditional way that I had been saying it for like 10 years. I had to switch up to make it a little bit more compelling, which you could easily do too. There's a woman I follow on Instagram. She's like an HR specialist. And she has like a couple 100,000, 300,000 followers, 400,000. And she just talks about like small little niche things. I'll send it to you after this. I don't know exactly what her handle is. But like HR, it can be interesting. We get
to
a lot of people.
Last week, 2 weeks ago, the Department of Labor changed their salary threshold for salaried employees. And of course, we're having conversations with all of our clients about it. And I swear to God, that week, every single one of my clients was freaking out about it, one, and two, was trying to make up their own labor laws. So we could have done an entire week of videos just answering all these questions about, well, what if I did this? And are you sure you can't do that? And why not this? And
so
I could have done
videos for an entire week.
I didn't. I know. See, the one thing.
But you didn't.
I didn't. I know. So you got.
Come on.
I'm gonna write that down, John. You're not helping me here. You're supposed to be pushing me on.
Let's go, John.
That's what I got you. No, that's great. So I mean, I certainly use those tools that are out there. Like you said, social media is free. And as far as I can tell, I mean, I'm in my little podcast studio here. We've got cameras and lights and all that stuff. When we do our videos, we do professional videos, but you just set your iPhone on the desk, right? You don't do anything fancy.
Yeah. If anybody's watching, like, I'm holding my phone and just like I turn on the front facing camera, not even like the fancy back facing camera, turn on the front facing camera. I sit right here. It's the same frame that I use. That if you're watching this, you can see the same frame, same background, which might be detrimental sometimes because people might be like, oh, I've already seen this video, especially if it sounds similar to something I've already said. And then they won't like it. They won't watch the whole way through. They won't share it. And the videos don't get that much reach. So sometimes I try to switch things up. If I'm in a hotel room, if I'm walking down the street or in the car, in the living room, in the backyard, walking the dogs, like just try to change up the content a little bit. And but anyways, I don't do anything crazy. Like I do have lights and stuff in here, but like I don't use them unless I'm filming like a YouTube video and it's at night. Like
so
that's the only time I use it.
What did you use to film the classes? Like Canva or something like that? It's literally your head and you're just going through a slideshow, right? Like,
yeah, I use something called Loom, Loom. I think it's like 10 or 15 bucks a month, but like I just recorded my screen. It puts like a little circle at the bottom left, or you can put it wherever you want on the screen. You drag it around, but for me, it's at the bottom left. And I legit, for the understanding SEO, like I'm going between slides on a presentation and showing real world examples like in my browser because I'm recording my screen. So I'm like leaving the presentation and being like, okay, here's a perfect example of that. We'll go to Google, we'll search something, and I'm like, here's the thing that we're looking at right now. So
those are great.
You can really see it in real time.
I think you can do the same thing with Canva. I think we've used it in Canva as well, but got to use those tools.
Yeah.
And most of them are pretty expensive. So, you've had some success here, right? You've grown tremendously on social media, but your business has benefited too, right? I mean, you've done, you've added new clients and new staff, and all. I think you posted something about that just recently. What's that look like? What's all this hard work? How has all this hard work paid off?
So last year at this time, we're filming this in July 2024. So last year, July 2023, I had a team of 3. And now I have a team of 10 plus some other freelancers that we bring in. And revenues have basically doubled, or they're on track to double. Something could happen and then I'd make $0 for the rest of the year. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not likely that happens, but anything's possible.
But you've been really creative too, because I think out this time last year, last fall, we reached out to you and said, "Hey, help us. We're seeing some changes. We need to learn." And he said, "Well, I really don't have capacity right now because this has been so successful, which is amazing." But you did kind of some small group stuff where like I'm very fortunate to have a John on my team who can do most of the work. But maybe just had some questions to bounce up, and you did a small group where you charged a couple $100 a month, and you would do a once a week Zoom call with everybody, 10 or 15 people, and you got smart about it, right? You kind of managed your growth that way.
So that's one thing that I do want to mention is I didn't know what I was doing in terms of like how I was going to monetize things, whether I was going to sell courses or do groups or a membership or this or that. So I just started trying things because that is the best way to figure out if something is going to work or not. And the small groups that I was doing with John on your team and a couple other people, it was great because I was making, $2,000-$3,000 a month. And I was showing up for 1 hour a week. And I know a lot of people were like, that's great. That's like a lot of money and like all this stuff, but it wasn't exactly the most beneficial thing because people still had to take courses and like buy other stuff, or, if they had questions, they were waiting a week to get an answer for it. So I ended up closing that down. I think I did it for like 6 months or so. I ended up like stopping doing that. And then I didn't really have anything besides a course that I was selling that showed you my entire SEO process. And it's okay to make mistakes. I make mistakes publicly all the time. I try things out. Like even right now, I have a website audit tool that I'm developing, and my developer, I sent him like screenshots of like, here's what the new website's going to look like. I had a designer make it. It all had like filler text on there, and it's not going to be live. It's not going to be like this when this podcast comes out. But if you go to it right now, like Chris, if you go to it right now, it'll.
I think John's
have a bunch of filler text on it. Like it's a live page. Yeah, so it's a live page. Like the homepage is all filler text. Like it doesn't say anything, and I'm like, cool. Like we are actively sending people here. So. Just make mistakes, show people the process along the way. Like people also love to see the process, right? They don't want to see somebody who's just like, oh, I'm standing next to my Ferrari kind of thing. Not that I have a Ferrari or anywhere close to there, but those guys or those people on YouTube where it's like, yeah, if you want to be rich like me, blah, blah, but they never really explain their process and, the hardship that they went through in their business or life struggles.
This isn't TikTok's not real world for the most part, except for you. You do a great job with it.
I mean, I try. I'm just a guy in a room posting videos. That's it. some days I have good days, some days I have bad days, and I talk about it.
Me today for this and helping our listeners, hopefully learn more about you and the topic and how to maybe build some business. But your content has really helped us, and we talked about this before. That we've seen dramatic increases, and we learned. We did all the easy stuff that you basically said, hey, these are the top 5 things you need to do. And then we really needed to dig into the structure of our website and see some of the architecture and the back end type things, which we've been working on, and we've been seeing those results. And, things like page load speed. And
so do you know why?
Because do
you know why you've been seeing results, Chris? No.
Because we did one.
It has nothing to do with me, because all the information that I share, you can find online. You have to do some digging and stuff like that. I just put it all in one place, but you guys are actually showing up every day and working on it. Like, you're actively working on it. It's the one thing that you're doing. And I mean, John's doing a lot of different stuff, and I know that it's not just SEO, but he's actively working on it, and it's not an overnight thing. It's been about probably a year since I met John on your team, and like he's was probably the most diligent person in like, hey, here's all the work I did last week. Like, can you look at this and tell me what else needs to be done, or did I do it right? And I'm like, you did all of this in the last week? That's incredible. So like, it's actively working on it and giving it time, being patient.
I will say that
is the secret.
Our biggest challenge is patience, particularly with the SEO, because it is not something that happens overnight. And I talk to peers in our industry, and they say, well, gosh, you do all this work and you're seeing these great results. Well, I'm trying to do the same thing, and it's been 2 months and nothing's happened. Well, we're 2 years into this journey, 2+ years into this journey of really focusing this and taking the time and putting the effort in, and we're just now seeing results. Now, I don't have the budget of, a Fortune 500 company to hire a team of people like you to handle that, but it definitely is something that takes time. And I tell clients all the time, if they ask me about it, or partners, peers, whatever, it takes time, but you're going to start, you're going to be consistent. The content strategy, whether it's putting out educational content like you do in social and classes and things like that, SEO, it's things like this podcast, right? Where our goal is, we're a payroll HR company, but I want my clients to succeed all around, because when they do better, they hire more people, they pay me more, and life's great, right? Yeah. So, this is a form of that kind of content marketing and so forth. So really, really successful, but well, awesome.
Absolutely. And so I was just going to say, one of the things that I do is like, I price everything like as low as I possibly can. It's not free. Like, I still need to make money and like pay bills and stuff. But like, my audit tool is $10 a month. And like, it's legit the cheapest audit tool you can get that I'm aware of that is this good, that exists. And I'm just like, I want to legitimately help small business owners. If they can pay me $10 a month, get access to this tool that they can't get access to for less than, like, let's say $50 a month somewhere else, like, I will help them grow their business. And I'm not trying to listen. There's like, I think in the United States alone, there's like 30 million small businesses. And I'm like, if even a fraction of those people buy my course once, or like subscribe to a program I'm doing, or whatever it is, like, I will be a very rich person, right? So I'm not trying to gouge people. I'm like legitimately trying to help as many people as possible. And that's I think the secret to success. Just help as many people as you possibly can, and don't try to gouge people.
I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Thank you. So how do people get in touch with you? Where do they follow you on social? What's a good way to find you and learn and take advantage of everything?
So on Instagram, it's heytony.agency is my handle, I guess. Or you could look up Matt Diamante, which I'm assuming is going to be in the show notes, or the title of this video, spelled that way. And you can go to my website, heytony.ca. I'm in Canada, in case people haven't recognized the accent at all. There's a couple words. There's a couple words that I say, like if I say out or about, then it comes comes out.
The Google machine works the same.
But yeah, most of the time, it's true. So yeah, heytony.ca is the website. And if anybody is listening who does SEO or has a subscription to Ahrefs or SEMrush or anything, like, feel free to put in my website in there. And, I actually put my money where my mouth is. We're getting a bunch of traffic to the website, multiple sources.
So where did HeyTony come from?
Keywords.
That's my curious question.
Check it out.
What's the story?
Oh God. Yeah. You know what? I need to do a video on this. Maybe I'll just take a clip from this podcast and post that as the video. So "Hey, Tony, my name is Matt." So people were like, "Why is your business called Hey, Tony? It doesn't make any sense." So basically, when I was trying to name the company, I was thinking of situations where I'm like, that would be a good name. And so years prior, I had an office downtown Toronto, and I was walking to lunch, and I overheard these two big burly construction guys, like the big manly men, not like me who sits in an office all day, but like these guys are lifting like railroad ties over the shoulder and like that kind of shit. I overheard two of them talking, and the one guy goes, "Hey, Tony, you always know how to put a smile on my face." And I just thought, what a genuine expression of emotion that you wouldn't expect to hear from that type of person. It was just like, it was very transparent. It was very much like, "Hey man, you put a smile on my face. You make me happy. You made my day better." Obviously he didn't say all that, but like, that's the emotion that, was kind of coming through there. And I was like, that's the transparency, the vulnerability, and the openness I want to have with my team, with my client.
That's a really cool
brand. Smiles on each other's faces.
That's authentic. And that's a whole different, I was saying, but that's a good thing, right? There's a story behind it, and it's authentic, and then it helps build your business, which, we all talk about, brand identity and all that stuff. That's a different video. But, Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much, man. I really, really appreciate it. This was great. I hope our listeners got something out of it. So, and don't forget, if you are here still, like, follow, share, rate, review. We are on all the podcast platforms. We are on all of the social media platforms at Small Business Big World. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Small Business Big World. This podcast is a production of Paper Trails. We are a payroll and HR company based in Kennebunk, Maine, and we serve small and mid-sized businesses across New England and the country. If you found this podcast helpful, don't forget to follow us at Paper Trails Payroll across all social media platforms, and check us out at papertrails.com for more information. As a reminder, the views, opinions, and thoughts expressed are the hosts and guests alone. The material presented in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered legal or financial advice. By inviting this guest to our podcast, Paper Trails does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific individual, organization, product, or service.